Mr. Speaker, at this time I'm pleased to yield to the most effective leading voice for working people in America today, the senior ranking Democrat on the Education Workforce Committee, my friend from California, Mr. Miller, for 3 minutes.
Gentleman from California is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you. I thank the gentleman for yielding. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentleman for that nice introduction. I rise in very strong opposition to this legislation, H.R. 2587. This special interest bill is a job killer. It's simply a job killer. It was spurred by a particular case involving a Fortune 500 corporation, the Boeing Company. But this bill is not just about Boeing. This bill is really about working Americans all across this country. And they should pay very careful attention to this bill and to this debate because it affects their livelihood, their ability to support their families, the safety of their jobs at work, the conditions under which they work, and their ability to participate in their increased productivity in higher wages and better conditions. This bill takes the rights away from workers, from all workers, all across the country. This isn't just about whether you belong to a union or not. This is about whether or not your employer can retaliate against you by taking your work away, by sending your work down the road or out of the country. It makes it easier to outsource because you simply, in response to a request by workers that they might share in the profits of the company, they might have higher wages, their work can disappear in an arbitrary fashion. And they have to understand that that's what happens under this legislation. For the first time in 70 years, American workers in the workplace will not be protected. They will not be protected for the right to have a grievance against the employer for their wages or for the benefits that they're paid, because the employer for the first time in 70 years will have the ability to say, well, if you need more wages and you want more wages, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take your jobs and I'm going to outsource them. I'm going to send them to China. I'm going to send them to India. I'm going to send them to another part of the country because I'm not going to pay higher wages. Today, that's illegal. Under this law, it will not be. They can take your job and your work away from you. And we have got to understand what that means. We just saw that wages have taken one of the largest hits in a decade in this country. We have seen as workers fail to organize in the workplace, wages have continued to go down. And at the same time, we have seen the CEOs and the management of the company take out tens of millions of dollars a year for each and every one of them, but not share it with the workers. They have decided that they'll take the increased productivity of the most productive workers in the world, the American worker, and they'll take that increased productivity and they'll take it for themselves. They won't continue the bargain that we have in this country, that if you work hard, you'll be able to prove your lot in life. So we've seen wages as stagnant in this country. And now this, if you try to get better wages, if you seek to improve your lot in life, if you seek to improve the ability of your kids to go to school, to provide for your family, your work can be taken away. This is a first in America.
The gentleman's time has
expired. I asked the gentleman for 30 seconds.
I yield the gentleman an additional 30 seconds.
This is a first in America.
Seconds. We must repudiate this on behalf of families that are struggling all across the country. Those who are fortunate enough to continue to have a job, but they can't have a job living under this threat that they won't be able to better themselves if their employer decides to be selfish, decides to retaliate against them for seeking to organize to do something on their behalf. It's a fundamental part of the contract in American worker. It doesn't